On this episode of Locked On Angels, what are the odds for the Angels getting the number one pick in next year's draft? I mean, it's been a terrible season. Why not reap some benefit from that? We've got the number for you, and we'll share it coming up. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You're becoming a smarter fan in just 30 minutes. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you'd like to give back to the Super Halo Bros for all this Super Halo content, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and become a Locked On Everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with us and be a part of the conversation. And today's show is brought to you by Game Time. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase.
Thank you for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
It's our third season here at Locked On Angels, talking Angels baseball 5 days a week with you. On today's show, are the odds in favor of the Angels for getting the number one pick next year? Well, we ran some simulations, and we're going to find out. We'll talk about those odds. But first, Mike, we have to talk about last night's game where the Angels lost to Mike Estabrook 3-0. I'm sorry, the Royals. They played the Royals last night. My bad. I thought they were playing the home plate umpire. My bad.
Not many people were fond of Mike Estabrook last night, including Ron Washington, walking off into the game, walking off the field with Estabrook, just letting him know, right? Hoppy, let him know.
Yeah.
Shawnuel, let him know, right? It was not a great game, but that strike zone was not great either, right?
It was one of those situations where you have to adapt to the umpire strike zone.
Yeah.
Right. And so these guys can't be looking at things that are likely going to be called. Of course, that's frustrating because it changes your approach at the plate.
Yeah.
But second, I mean, how many calls did Michael Lorenzen get below the zone versus
right
where Johnny Cueto was throwing, Ronci Contreras, those guys? It was totally lopsided in this one. So it was pretty ridiculous. But Johnny Cueto, Mike, it's not 2015
right
Johnny Cueto pitching for the Royals. It's not even 2008 Johnny Cueto pitching at this moment. It's 2024 Johnny Cueto.
Yeah.
And hey, given the results and the strike zone and everything that happened, a quality start from Johnny Cueto, Mike.
Yeah, how about that? And then I looked up who the Angels were going to have pitch today and tomorrow. Chuck Finley and Dean Chance are going to be in the rotation as well. They're just grabbing anybody, right? So here's what's great about Cueto is that he can be really efficient and then have all control go away. Like he can lose all control and then be really efficient and then fall apart again. Didn't fall apart last night, but he was efficient at certain moments and then struggled. So in those efficient moments, John, he had like 7 pitches in the first inning.
Mm-hmm.
Second inning, he had 12 pitches and 2 outs. And then he loaded the bases and the Royals got an RBI double. They took a 2-run lead. He did give up another run in the 6th inning. Again, really efficient up until the 6th inning. And then with a couple of outs, he got into some trouble. But this was a pretty good start, John. 6 1/3, 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 1 K. 84 pitches and a standing ovation when he left the field. The Royals fans really honored him.
Yeah, that was good to see that show of respect. I didn't realize that he had 13 starts as a Royal after the deadline, and then got that complete game in Game 2 and helped them win the World Series against the Mets that year. We're bitter because the Royals swept the Angels on the way to the 2014 World Series. They didn't win that one, but they did win in 2015. But I got to say, for Cueto and being, on a minor league deal with the Rangers, then the Angels, and now just coming up here and being a body, Mike, there isn't much to complain about from Johnny Cueto. Really giving up 3 runs. One of them was a solo home run off the foul pole.
Yeah.
Come on, Angels. Where's the offense here?
Right.
They just couldn't put anything together. Of course, they let Michael Lorenzen, former Halo, dominate them through 7 innings. The longest start for Michael Lorenzen as a Kansas City Royal this year. Naturally, that's going to happen against the Angels.
Yeah, and the Angels have really done well against Lorenzen, but not in the game last night, man. 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 Ks. They were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position, left 7 runners on base, really didn't have anybody on base. And so it wasn't a great performance last night at all. Johnny, since it's developmental season and not chasing wins season, are there any moments from last night's game where you were like, okay, that was good. I saw some development there. Okay, that was good. I liked what I saw from that player there.
Yeah, I know he fouled off a lot and he flew out and didn't get his first hit or home run, but seeing Nico Cavadas make contact, I think is the right direction.
Yeah.
So far, he's been all or nothing. He's been strikeout or a walk. And, he's taken his walks, but he just has not been able to get a hold of anything. So the fact that he actually made some contact, I know he did strike out, but to make some contact, that's a step in the right direction. I mean, Zach Neto, what can you say other than, some patience there, some good defensive plays out there as well. So, and that was kind of all around the diamond. But again, it's frustrating when they have to battle the umpire in this one, and he's shooing away the Angels and things like that. It's just like, how big is your ego back there, Mike Ego, rather than Estabrook and Mr. Ego Brook? So yeah, just ridiculous to see some of the antics from the umpires when obviously you're not doing a good job. When you have 3 people in your ear, and 3.5 if you count Nolan Shonwell, who was out, by the way.
Yeah,
because that pitch did come in and get the corner. When he's mouthing off, coming off out of the batter's box. I mean, look, it was ridiculous to see what was happening there. But all in all, it is what it is. They just couldn't put anything together in this one. And they've got to learn what they did wrong. And to be honest with you, Mike, I think that there was a lot of opportunity to take more walks. I understand they took 2 against Michael Lorenzen. But if you can't figure out a strike zone and you can't figure out what the umpire is calling, I understand the pitches below the zone are getting called strikes. But I think the Angels have a problem with pivoting. When something isn't going their way, they just, square peg, round hole. They just try to smash whatever they're doing and try to make it work. And I would like to see more pivots at the plate, right? And I don't think, I kind of question Johnny Washington's ability to do that or communicate that, or even Ron Washington's. It just doesn't seem like these guys have been adaptable lately. I've seen them be adaptable in the past, so I'm not going to blanket statement that. But to me, I watch a game like last night and just see that nobody's really adapting to the situation. I don't know if that's baseball smarts. I don't know if that's not enough communication from when you're standing on the top step of the dugout behind the guy who's in the on-deck circle, behind the guy who's at the batter's box. I think you got to be in their ear. I think you got to be telling them, hey, listen, this strike zone is farts. We need to do something about it. If you got to take your pitches and take your walks, then do that. I just think that they need to be able to pivot better. So not much to say in terms of, hey, great development, guys, but more of, can you learn from this? Can you learn from what just happened to you in last night's game? So those are my thoughts on last night. How about you?
Yeah, what I felt what happened last night, and it seemed to have happened often this season, when the Angels feel like a turtle on their back, when they just can't get ahead of themselves.
That's a great way of putting it.
When they just can't get ahead, and they just can't get hits, or the strike zones really expanded, the strategy seems to be yelling, screaming, getting mad, correcting the umpire, right? Which I don't disagree with. I think that what Logan O'Hoppe did in his last at bat in the 9th inning was appropriate, where he was, did I swing? Did you come out on the swing, or did you not check down there? Like,
right. He was looking for an answer there. Yes.
I like that. He did it respectfully. You could tell he was firm. Then, as he walks off, he's shaking his head, which gives the indication of like, he's frustrated. I get that. That was probably the only moment that felt kind of appropriate. The other ones were just anger. And Shonwell has a history of getting mad at pitches that were strikes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that has to change. And so you don't have integrity, right? As a batter, if you're getting mad at pitches that are strikes. And so you're not going to earn the pitches that are balls that maybe are on the borderline, right? And so I think that what happens in all sports, but specifically in baseball, is you're a young kid. You're not getting that call. You're not Mike Trout, right? And so that's the thing that I think the Angels need to adjust when they have moments where they're on their backs. They need to not just freak out and get mad and yell and scream. Let your manager do that. Have a stern conversation. But then also, I think that you got to shorten up your swing. I didn't see anybody last night shortening up their swing.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody last night trying to go the other way. Joe Adell's last at bat was a great swing that went to right field, but was caught. It went to right center and it was caught. But that was the thing that you didn't see much last night. Their approach didn't change. And so is that on Johnny Washington? Yeah, I guess so. I guess that he has to really communicate the strategy. But more importantly, if these guys are going to be Major League Baseball hitters, they have to adjust and know what it is that they need to do. You saw that the night before when Sean Wells slapped a ball down the left field line, right? They were playing him to pull. He slapped it down. So from one night to the next, there's a lack of consistency, and it feels like the information and the good things that they did the night before falls out the side of their head when they start to play in the next game. And that's what seemed to happen from game 2 to game 3 in this series.
Yeah, there's no continuity, right? It's consistency, it's continuity, it's what you've been doing from one game to the next. What worked well the night before, can you bring that into the game today? I the phrase like, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new ball game. No, keep doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you did last night and do it again. And if that doesn't work, then you have to change your approach. And you're right. I don't want to say it's one person's fault or another. I just wonder, what's being communicated. But also, yes, these professional hitters need to learn how to adjust to what's actually happening on the playing field. So the good news here, Roansy Contreras, 1 2/3 innings, no hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, continues to be a great back end piece for the bullpen. Did you see the graphic from before June and after June 1st of the ERA for the bullpen? It was nearly 6 in the before June, and then 2.8 something, I think. So it was basically the difference between 6 earned runs and 3 earned runs.
Wow.
And so the bullpen has just been figuring it out lately, and that's even without Luis Garcia and Carlos Estevez.
It's a makeshift bullpen, right? Like it's just guys off the street that are actually performing really well. So high five to the pitching staff, to the coaching staff in helping them to get to where they're at. That's a great thing. But there also, I think, is some luck that has been involved in this as well.
Well, here's the thing too, is what's frustrating for us as fans who are wanting to see development and wanting to see some, again, continuity and consistency. They sent Hans Kraus down to AAA to make room. And then they keep somebody like Matt Moore, who, is pitching out of the bullpen. And so, again, it goes back to, what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you chasing wins? Are you chasing development? Do you want a quote-unquote veteran presence around the team? Because that seems to be the MO. How many veteran presences does this team need?
And it's just ridiculous. If they have a veteran presence, could they please, I don't know, utilize the veteran presence
or
and
be
help
good
team, and help this team to develop and improve? Because if there's a veteran presence, it stinks, man. It's not a great presence at all.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. On that note, the Angels are playing the Blue Jays 4:07 Pacific time tonight, this afternoon, however you want to look at it. Maybe you're in Toronto and you're on the night side of things, but 4:07 Pacific time. You can catch every pitch of the Angels hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. All you got to do is search Angels. Coming up on Locked On Angels, we're talking about those number 1 pick draft lottery odds. Can the Angels walk away with the first pick of the draft in 2025? We'll talk about all of that coming right up.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by a new sponsor, Tonal. It's time to get in shape, Johnny. Let's get in shape with Tonal. It's the world's smartest and most effective strength training system.
Man,
I need you to get stronger.
I need it because it's summer's almost over, and this I didn't really do much in the way of toning up, so maybe Tonal can help me out.
You kept your baggy shirt on. This is powered by AI. Tonal learns with every rep, so it can deliver workouts personalized just for you. It's like having a personal trainer at home without all of the cost, and it's going to help you optimize every workout just for you. Unlike the traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques. And with Tonal, you can get efficient workouts personalized for you, and they're available for the amount of time that you have. From professional athletes to moms of 3, Tonal is trusted by thousands who have become their strongest. And Tonal's smart strength training system, it takes the guesswork out of working out so that you can make sure that every rep is the best rep. You're making the most of each one. And right now, Tonal is offering our everydayers $200 off your Tonal purchase by using our promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Go to tonal.com and use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off your purchase. Again, tonal.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off your purchase.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And everydayers, when you're done here making Locked On Angels your first listen, head on over to Locked On MLB for your second listen. You can get ready for the playoff race with our pal Sully. He's your pal too. He's got you covered every single day on Locked On MLB. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Speaking of your team, Angels are playing the Blue Jays, 4:07 Pacific time tonight. Catch every pitch of the Angels hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Angels.
Whenever there's draft talk, there's always the inevitable fan that will say, oh, you got a tank for number one. Well, you can't do that anymore, at least in baseball and in basketball.
Yeah,
baseball,
the NHL too.
Right? The NHL is the same way. Only football you can tank, right? And now with the lottery, it only, as you lose, your percentages could possibly go up, but it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to get that number one pick. So before we talk about the Angels and their record and their odds to get the number one pick, we need to address something, John. There's an interesting issue in next year's draft, and it has to do with the A's and the White Sox. They are not going to be able to receive a top 9 pick. And here's why. It has to do with revenue sharing. So here's how revenue sharing works. If you're not familiar, if you're new to baseball, new to Locked On Angels, teams pay into a common pool of revenue. It's comprised of about 48% of the revenue earned in a given year. This resource includes that surplus from the threshold limits like the luxury tax or the competitive balance tax. So if you go over a certain amount for payroll, you pay into this pool of money. Those penalties are paid into that. And then teams are classified into a tier system based on formulas that take into account their market size and their payroll. And small markets and lower payroll teams are going to receive a higher percentage of money from this common pool. And the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, it requires that money from the revenue sharing agreement must be used to, quote, improve performance on the field. And so that's kind of a background to the conversation that we're going to have. Johnny, the White Sox and the A's are kind of in a bit of a pickle because they're not going to get a good pick. Why don't you talk about why the White Sox aren't going to get a good pick? Oh, you're muted.
There we go. The White Sox spend like a small market club, but they are still considered a large market team. They're in Chicago, Mike. There's no excuse to be doing this. So large market teams cannot pick in the lottery in consecutive years under the new MLB rules. Due to that rule, the White Sox will be able to pick no higher than 10th in 2025. Even though they have the worst record in baseball, would probably end up at number one if this were under the old rules. Well, after so many years of teams tanking, this new rule has been implemented, and so that's changed things. The White Sox will still keep their draft slots in each of the rest of the rounds, so that means they'll be probably number one in each of the rest of the rounds, or however, every 30 or so. But those are all based on teams' records, so that's what's going on with the White Sox. No higher than 10 in this draft. Then for the A's, they actually receive revenue-sharing payouts, and they aren't allowed to hold a selection in the first 6 picks more than 2 consecutive years. And the hope is that the A's would use the money to improve the team, which they obviously did not. And, apparently there's no money for the A's to build the stadium. They need help from this city and that city and this government and this state. And they need all this taxpayer money to build their pretty little stadium in Vegas, even though they're getting billions from revenue share. It's probably not billions, but the hope is they would use the money for the team. Obviously they didn't. They will not be able to get a pick any higher than 10th overall as well in this upcoming draft lottery.
So due to all of that, it gives teams like the Rockies, the Marlins, and the Angels a better chance at the top pick. And here's the reason: because each of them have the 3 worst records in baseball.
Hey!
So right now, the Rockies and the Marlins have the best odds of getting the first pick at 22%. Number 2, the Angels, John, at 18%. So the question is that good? Like, what are the odds of them getting that? Well, Johnny, you did some homework, and in segment 3, we're going to talk about the simulations that you ran. Like we did when we were playing Madden so many years ago. We would simulate a season, right? And so we're going to talk about those simulations, and there's some good information there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to get into those simulations. But Mike, just to establish how fickle this whole thing can be at the moment, let's put it this way. 2 days ago, the Angels had 18% odds of getting the first pick.
Right.
Then they won a game against the Royals. That brought their percentage down to 14.3-ish percent. But then they lost again last night. And so they're back up to 18%.
Hooray.
So hooray. And so that's the thing that we kind of joked about it earlier in the week that, with these teams like learning and developing and whatnot and not getting wins and Brandon Drury playing at any point in a game, it all contributes to enhancing the odds of the Angels having a better pick. So if you're disappointed about a loss, I've got a suggestion for you in our next segment that I think is going to make up for it. And we'll talk about that in just a minute.
Today's show is brought to you by supplyhouse.com. You can order supplies from the website that's made for the skilled trades. Find thousands of parts from hundreds of brands in just a couple of clicks at supplyhouse.com. They give you 24/7 access to a huge selection of plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies, and you get fast delivery anywhere in the United States. And if you need help with an order, they have industry-leading after-sales service from friendly and knowledgeable customer support teams, and they're real people. You can really talk to them. It's good news. And here's good news for plumbers and technicians and contractors. Being a pro has its perk. The trade industry professionals have joined the free Trade Master program with Supply House. You get free shipping and serious discounts on every order. You can order over 100,000 different types of items, and there's over 100,000 different types of pros that are a part of the Trade Master program, and it delivers results. Apply for your membership today at supplyhouse.com/TM, and you can save time and money when you order online with HVAC and electrical supplies and plumbing at supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service.
And today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. They are now an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball. Makes ticket getting even easier and even faster. I know what you're thinking. There's only a few more Angels homestands left for you to get out to the Big A with Game Time. But the thing is, they also have concerts, comedy, theater, so much more. You can save up to 60% off on last-minute ticket deals with Game Time. There's even exclusive in-app flash deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. You can save even more on zone deals when you choose a section, and then Game Time chooses the seats for you. They have all-in pricing, so it shows you the total up front. There's no surprise fees at checkout. What you pay is what you see. You get a panoramic view from your seat, so you can see all around you. They have the lowest price guarantee, and if they find tickets in the same section, same row, cheaper, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. You get Game Time ticket coverage. You have the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
All right, so 18%. That's where the Angels sit currently after last night's loss. And Johnny, you did some nerding out. So buckle up, nerds. John's got some good information for us. You ran 100 simulations. 100 simulations. What are you doing all day? Is that what you're doing all day?
Running 100 simulations, Mike. What do you expect me to do?
So 100 simulations of next year's draft. Yeah, next year's draft lottery. And you did it at tankathon.com/MLB. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, you guys have to check out tankathon.com. And if you go there, there's MLB, there's NBA, NHL, all that stuff. But we're specifically looking at MLB. So that's a very handy tool for you to check. And if you want to run your own simulations, you can. And it stays up to date with, like I said, how in flux these percentages are and these odds are. Mike, it even considers the fact that the A's and the White Sox can't be in the top 10 picks. So
smart.
It runs the simulation for you. It runs the percentages for you. When I ran this, the Angels odds, this is before last night's game, with a 54-72 record. 14.23%. So that's the odds for the results I'm about to give you. However, mind you, like I said, 2 days ago, with a 53-72 record, it was 18%. Well, now that they lost again, and they're 54-73, they're back at 18%. So
hooray.
perhaps, I love how you say hooray every time. Perhaps the results that I got might be different with more number one picks, but just for fun, I ran the simulation. Obviously, this is all for naught by the end of the season because that's really going to determine where everybody stands. And so I put this graphic together for our everydayers on the video side, but for the audio side, I'll read it out for you as well. So in 100 2025 draft lottery simulations, the Angels got the first pick 15 times, Mike. 15 times.
Okay.
They got the second pick 20 times. They got the third pick, so that's no change. Right now, if things were to fall the way that they should based on record, the Angels would have the third pick, but obviously that's not the situation. They ended up with the third pick 10 times. So far, first pick 15 times, second pick 20 times, third pick 10 times. Now, here's where it gets a little dicey. Fourth pick, they ended up at number 4 7 times. So that means they fell one spot. I ran the simulation 100 times, and 14 of the times they got the fifth pick, which means they fell 2 spots. And for the sixth pick, again, 14 times they fell 3 spots in that situation. For the seventh pick, this one scares me a little bit. 19 times, Mike.
Wow.
They ended up in the seventh pick. That means they fall 4 draft selection spots. Then finally, they got the 8th pick 1 time. So they fell 5 spots, but that was 1 out of 100 times that I ran the simulation. So to break it down just a little bit further, 35 out of 100 times, they moved up a pick. Okay. They either got the first pick or the second pick. The scary part is that 55 out of the 100 times I ran the simulation, they fell. Yeah. So they fell from 3rd to 4th, all the way down to 8th in that scenario. So it looks a little bit scary, but there are some good odds there in the fact that at least they moved up 1 pick to 2nd, 1 pick, 2 picks to 1st, right? And I think what everybody is really hoping for is that they get the first pick and that they can draft Ethan Holiday, Jackson Holiday's brother. But, you know, we'll see what happens in this scenario. But I wanted to bring something up that I found interesting, and it's something that Anaheim Ducks fans, who are more than likely Angel fans, they may remember about their own draft lottery. This past lottery, the Ducks had the 3rd spot based on their record, and they ended up at 3. So no changes. They had the 3rd pick based on record. The lottery still ended up at 3. So that's good. 2 lotteries ago, Mike, the Ducks had the worst record in the NHL. They had the number 1 spot, but they fell 2 spots, getting the number 3 pick, while the Blackhawks moved up from 3 to get number 1. So you can look at it a couple of ways. You can think, well, my favorite hockey team got screwed from number 1 down to number 3. Or you can look at it as, hey, the Blackhawks and the Angels are both in that number 3 spot right now. Maybe the Angels will move up to number 1. So you never know what's going to happen with this lottery. But Mike, here's what I think. I got a question for you. Wouldn't it be classic Angels if they fell from the 3rd spot? Based on the simulations, they fell 55 out of 100 times from their number 3 spot. That would just be classic Angels, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would feel like it. Obviously, they didn't have anything to do with it in the sense that they're not in charge of the lottery.
Sure,
But
sure.
they have everything to do with it and how they're going to play for the rest of the year. And this is why we've talked often about not chasing wins and chasing development. Like, they let those young guys play. And so if you lose, the benefit is you might get a better pick, right?
Yeah.
I think, Johnny, I would be okay if they did get a top 3 spot.
Sure.
The thing that makes me nervous about your simulations was that number 7 – they got 19 times, right?
But they did get number 2 20 times. So that's kind of the trade-off there.
Because number 2 was the most, and then it was number 7.
Yes.
That's the part that makes me a little bit nervous.
Right.
And then, of course, number 1 was 15 times. And so that makes me a little bit nervous. So I would be okay if they get a top 3 pick. I look at their record, and if they can kind of get in that wherever they finish, and if it was a regular draft and not a lottery, I would hope that they would get into that frame. They would get into the top 3 if they're one of the worst 3 teams in baseball. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that not getting number 1 is the worst thing in the world. To have a top 3 pick is humongous. And so at the very least, I'm crossing my fingers for 3. Mike, one last question for you, and I kind of want to rattle off here. It is so annoying to me, the fact that I know the Angels didn't tank this year, and they said they were going to be competitive, and they said they were going to do this and that, and da-da-da-da-da. However, you could consider this a tank, right? You could consider this the fact that, they didn't do much over the offseason. We knew they were going to end up in a situation like this. But here's my problem with it. They finally figure out how to tank, but now there's a draft lottery. Mike, they had 10 years where they could have tanked and got the record or the draft pick they should have gotten for their corresponding record. But now 55 out of 100 simulations say that they're going to fall from their 3rd spot. And so I'm thinking, what are we doing? The year that they finally tank and fall apart is the year that, you might go from number 3 to number 8 in the draft lottery. It just drives me absolutely insane. It's just they can't even tank right, Mike. They can't even do that right.
Well, that's why the Astros are so good, right? Because the Astros had a couple of really terrible years, but they got some really great draft picks, and it impacted their team. Carlos Correa came from that. And so that's the frustrating part about the lottery, and that's the frustrating part about the Angels not knowing. And then also, can I just reiterate, the Angels need better PR. They need a new PR person, somebody that's going to stand in front of the fans and say, here's our plan, because they never do that. They would win. Angels, you would win with us. Perry, you would win. Artie, you would win with us. We would not talk bad about you if you came out and said, here's the game plan. We're probably going to lose. We're probably going to suck, but here's the game plan. We'll probably still talk bad. But what I'm saying is that 85% of the time we'll be like, well, at least they gave us the plan. At least we knew what to expect. And that's the problem with this team, is they just never tell us what their plan is. They still haven't talked. We haven't heard from anybody. All we get is we'll see, and hopefully, and that might be the case, and Mike Trout's going to hit 70 home runs next year. That's what we get. And all of it just is so unreasonable and so ridiculous. And so get a new PR person and learn how to tank better, right?
You know what? They could hire us. We're the ones that said no expectations even before the season started.
Good.
So there you go.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Now make your second listen. Locked On MLB with our friend Soli. He's going to get you ready for the playoffs. He's available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. He's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day.
Hey, give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels and at Super Halo Bros, both on Twitter and Instagram. Whether you're watching or listening, come on over to today's show. Get in the comments section on YouTube. On your way down there, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. It really helps us out, Mike and I. Hey, Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
It's Fan Mail Friday, and what we'd love to hear from you is who you think the Angels should select if they got a top pick, or maybe the number 2 or number 3 pick, right? And we know that one of the Holiday brothers is available. That's fantastic. But if you know of other players, you would suggest other players, we'd love to hear about those other players from you. Plus, we'll take all your questions, all your thoughts, all your comments, all your frustrations tomorrow for Fan Mail Friday.
Looking forward to that. We hope we get a lot of questions from you guys for Fan Mail Friday. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Friday.
They were just honest with us. I ran the simulations. 92% of us would be positive. 92%.
I agree.